Hey everyone, and welcome back to Wix Fix. I hope you're having a fantastic day. My name is Ryan, and in today's video, we're going to be recreating Loume's website inside of Wix Studio. Now, if you are a Patreon supporter or YouTube channel member, you actually get an exclusive video where we're going to take this page and build it for tablet and mobile as well. So if you are a supporter, enjoy the additional content. But without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so in today's video, this is the website that we're going to be making. This is basically, it looks like a product that is supposed to help people sleep with like breathing exercises, guided meditation, and routine stuff. And I don't know, I really like the way this website looks. It's kind of given me like an Apple-ish design. And I really love how even with these like simple websites where half of it's imagery and half of it's just a stack of content with heading and paragraph, they find ways to put in their UI and make it look really clean. Even in the stack itself over here, they've incorporated some of the UI design as well. And I just think it looks super, super clean. So we're not going to be building every section. For example, we're not going to be building this one, and we're not going to be adding like, you know, the reviews and stuff like that, or the footer. We're going to be more focusing on some of the more fun sections up at the top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here I am inside of Wix Studio, and the only thing that I've done to kind of prepare this is I've changed the white default color to their kind of off-white cream, and then I've changed their black default color to like a very dark charcoal gray. And then I've also changed the fonts to match the website that we're building. And last but not least, I've added the home and jobs page, because if we look at the website, you can see homes and jobs, right? So I just wanted to include those in our menu. Now that we're back on this page, we can go ahead and start building. Of course, we should probably start with the hero section. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and delete the fake logo. I'm going to drag down the menu. For this menu, of course, we want to add our page. So we'll go to main pages, add jobs, just like that. It's that easy. I'm also going to go ahead and set this to hug. And our menu is basically done. I might want to go over to the hover state. Okay, I think that looks good. Selected, good. Okay, I think the menu is already done and looks fine. The next thing we're going to want to do, if we take a look at the main website, you're going to see we have the menu over here. So actually we need to change it to white. Then we have the logo, and then we have three icons over here with a small little expand like hover effect. So let's go ahead and do that. So the first thing we're going to want to do is I want to add a container. I'm going to add it up here. And what I want to do is go ahead and stretch this. With this stretched, I want to remove the background color. And I want to add like a little bit of padding. So we're going to add 5% padding. And then what I'm actually going to do is turn on edit individually. And I'm going to add like, let's do 16. I think 16 will do. And the reason I am doing this is because if I switch back over to the live website, as I scroll down and scroll back up, you're going to see now the header has like a black background on it. And it's not all the way at the top. It has a little bit of that gap there. So I'm going to try to replicate that as well. So what I want to do is grab the header, make sure the background color is set to 0. And then for the scroll effect, I'm going to set this to disappear. We're going to set this to hover over the next section. And we're going to go up 100%. Okay, perfect. Now what I want to do is add a new container inside of this. We're just going to stretch it. For this one, we're going to set it to the black color. And we're going to add, let's do 16 again. I think that looks really good. With this, we're then going to add maybe 42 pixels on the left and right. And then we're going to add like 12 pixels on the top and bottom. Okay. Now let's add another container inside of it. We'll stretch it. We're going to split this into 3 grids or 3 columns. And we'll add like 24 pixel gap. Okay. Last but not least, we'll remove the background color. Great. Now let's grab our menu. Let's stick it into the left column over here. We'll send it to the left, make it center it vertically. And then we need to change the text to be our font color or font. For this, we are using Enter Regular. and we're going to change this to our white color. Okay, and of course, for some reason, we need to apply this color to all of the states, just like that. Next, let's go ahead and add our logo. So I'm gonna go to our media, find the Loume logo. I'm gonna paste it in, okay? Let's resize it. And once it's resized, let's lock the aspect ratio. Let's make it substantially smaller. We'll bring it in here, center it, and don't forget to link this to the home page. Perfect. And honestly, I think it's still a little bit too big. So I'm gonna go ahead and make it a little bit smaller, center it again, and I'm actually going to make this a fixed size. I think that looks pretty good. Over here for the right-hand side, we're gonna want to add 3 different icons. So for ease, what I'm gonna do is add a new container. I'm gonna apply a CSS grid, split this into 3 different columns, and let's add a 10 pixel gap in between it. Something like that. And let's remove the background color. Inside of this, what we want to do is add in one of these columns here. What I want to do is add a container. For this container, let's make it like 40 pixels by 40 pixels, and I want to set this to fixed. Okay, and we'll center it, remove the background color, okay? Then inside of it, we want to add one of our icons. So what I want to do is go to media, go to my boards, and I actually have a board with a bunch of different icons already. So what I want to do is just choose like a shopping cart one. I like this one here. And what I want to do is lock the aspect ratio. We'll set this to like 32 pixels. And I'm going to throw this into our little box here. And maybe actually, let's make it a little bit smaller. We'll do 24 pixels. Okay. So now let's go ahead and grab this container that the icon is sitting in. And what we're going to do is we're going to come over to animation and effects, go to hover. And all I want to do is add a custom animation. With the custom animation selected, let's grab the icon and let's go up to like 105%. And we'll do that for both the X and Y. And I think that looks good. So now let's go ahead and press done. For me, I always like to rename my animations. So expand icon on hover. Okay, and I'll press save. Last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and grab a button. I'm going to change text and just delete the text. And all I want to do is throw this into the container here. I'm going to press Option I or Alt I on the keyboard to open up the advanced sizing. If you don't want to do the keyboard shortcut, you can press the 3 dots here and turn it on manually. But what I want to do is set the width to 100% and the height to 100% as well. And then I'm just going to center it inside the box. Great. Now the only thing left to do is go ahead and delete the background color, but don't forget to do that for the hover state as well. Okay, so now that we have this done, let's go ahead and duplicate this. We'll move this over here to the middle. Let's duplicate it one more time. We'll move this one over here to the right column. And now we just need to kind of change the icon. So what I'm going to do is grab this container, open up the layers panel, and with this container selected, we'll drop it down, grab the vector art, and we'll change it. So once again, this one is actually going to be like the person. So I'm going to grab this one here. I think that looks good. I know it's really hard to see it right now because it's not on the black background yet. So apologies for not being able to see it, but let's go ahead and change this last icon. And this one's going to be like a little search. Okay, perfect. And now our 3 icons are done and complete. What I want to do is grab this container. I'm going to do Option I, turn on advanced settings again. And for this width, I'm going to set this to max content and we're going to remove the minimum width. Okay. Then we're going to come down to rows under the layout and we're going to set this to max content as well. So basically we just created a container here containing our 3 different icons. Just like that, it was that easy. In fact, I'm actually going to remove the gap here just so they look a little bit cleaner and tighter together. Fantastic. So now our header is done, but now what I want to do is actually remove the background color here. Now let's go ahead and start working on the hero section. First thing I want to do is add our background video. So we'll come over to our media. I'm going to grab the homepage hero section video, and I'm going to stretch it. Then what I want to do is come down to margins, and I want to add like 24 pixels to all sides. Okay, and I'm going to change the pixel with the asterisk just to pixels. I think that looks a little better. And then I'm going to come down to corners and turn on customize corners and set this to like 24. And actually, if I'm being honest, maybe I'm going to do 16 for all of these instead of 24, just to be consistent. So we've been using 16 for a lot of the other stuff. So I'm going to do that here for the rounded corners as well. The next thing I want to do is grab this section here. And what I want to do is actually set this to fit the screen. Okay, so now we should have something that looks like this. Next thing I want to do is go ahead and add our main title. What I want to do is change it to our heading 1. Change the color. We'll make it a little bit bigger. We'll align the text to the center of the text element. We'll change the text and we'll make the font size maybe a little smaller. Let's adjust the line spacing and we'll make it so that new wraps to the second line. Okay, I think that looks good. Next, we need to add a couple buttons. For this, I do want to add custom buttons because I don't want to add basic buttons, I want to add styled, because I do want for one of these to have like a little icon. And with basic buttons, you can't add the icons. So with this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the text to say discover. And with the text, let's make sure we set it to enter, regular. Let's also add a little bit of character spacing. I think that looks good. And with this one, we're going to set the background color to our white. We'll change our text color to black. Under corners, let's do like 12. I think that looks good. Let's remove the border, so we don't want that. And our button is coming together. I am going to make it a little bit shorter, but I'm also going to make it a little bit taller as well. Okay, and I think that looks pretty good. One thing for the hover state, we're basically going to flip it around. So we're going to change the background to black and the text to white. And that is our first button. Now let's go ahead and duplicate this. I want to bring this over here. And for this one, we're going to say order, but we want this one to also have an icon. So text and icon. For this icon, let's change the color to, actually we do want this one to be white. What we want to do for the button design though is remove the background color. For the text, we'll set this to white. And I want to reverse the layouts of the icon in text. So what I'm going to do is say icon position after text. And then if I go ahead and check out the hover state, all we really need to do here is change the icon to white. Okay. So now with both of these buttons, we'll select both. We'll stack these together. Let's add a 16 pixel gap. Let's center it. Then with this stack selected, we'll use shift and grab this text and we'll stack these together. And let's add like a 42 pixel gap in between, just like that. And then last, with this stack selected, we'll just simply align it to the center. And just like that, we have designed the hero section very, very simply inside of Wix. However, one thing I do kind of want to work on really quickly is the video. as of right now, it's very bright, and sometimes if you have bright text on top of a bright video, it can be kind of hard to see what the words are. Like this word order, you can hardly see this button, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to unstretch this video. We're going to right click. We are going to place it in a container, and with the container, then we're going to stretch the container, and then we're going to apply that 16 pixel margin with the container. And we'll switch all the margins to pixel values instead of scaled pixels. Then with this video, let's go ahead and stretch this. And with the video, let's remove the corners. But now let's grab the container and let's add the corners. So we'll say 16 pixels. Okay. And then let's go down to overflow content. We'll set this to height. Perfect. And that's going to clip and add the corners that we want. And with this container, I want this to be black, okay? And now if we grab this video, and let's go down to opacity down here, let's set this to 70%. So just by doing that, what we basically did was we added a black background, and we lowered the opacity of our video so that the black background can then appear. By adding a little black to the section, or by darkening the image, I should say, we are now able to see our white text and buttons a little bit easier. But now let's go ahead and start working on the next section. So what I want to do is go to add, assets, and I'm going to add my empty section here. Now, if you aren't aware of what this empty section that I just added is, then feel free to check out my video that I'll have linked in the description below. Basically, all this is a bunch of little small setup tasks that I do for every single section, and I saved it as an asset so I don't have to do that for 50 sections that I build on every single website. So I highly suggest checking out that video if you haven't already. But what I want to do is go ahead and split this into a 1x2 grid. The top area is going to be for text. The bottom area is going to be for a video. So I do want to add a little bit of a gap here. So what I want to do is for the gap, I want to set this to like 6.4 VH. Okay, and now let's go ahead and start working on the text here. First thing I want to do is I want to grab some text. I want to grab a heading 6. Now I will say for the heading 6, I do think I want to change this to enter. So what I want to do is say enter regular. And what I want to do with this is I kind of want this to be 16 pixels. I want to turn off scaling text. And unfortunately, I can't do this for the heading over here. But what I want to do for this text element itself is I want to turn on the uppercase. So it's all uppercase. And honestly, I think I actually do want to do like enter medium or enter bold. Just so it's a little bit more bold. Okay. And then what I want to do is center the text and we'll send it to the top. Let's go ahead and change the text really quickly. Next, let's go ahead and add a new heading. So we'll add a heading 2. Let's align to the center and we'll change the text. Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and center this. Let's change the line spacing to like 1, maybe 1.1, and we'll make it a little bit bigger. Let's do like 48. Okay, I think that looks good. Okay. And last but not least, we're gonna grab a paragraph text. And with these paragraph texts, honestly, I just like to set them to 16 pixels and turn off scaling text. I just want them to be a set size. But that's just personal preference. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and paste in the text. We'll make it a little bit wider. We'll center the text. Then we'll center it inside of the section. And let's grab all 3 of these elements. We'll stack these together. Let's add like 16 pixels in between them. Perfect. And then we'll grab this container and we'll set this bottom one to, or this top one to max width. And then I also might go ahead and like darken or lighten up this text here. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, next let's go ahead and add the video. So what I want to do for now is I want to grab this bottom row. Let's just set this to like 800 pixels for now. It's not going to end up being that big. But what we want to do is add a video. I will say I wasn't able to actually download their video for this specific section, but I was able to download the thumbnail that they use for the video. So we're just going to pretend that this is a video element here. And what I want to do with this video element is I want to lock the aspect ratio. I want to set the width to be like 100%. Let's align it to the middle, send it to the top of the grid section. And then for corners, we're going to set this to like 16 pixels. Just like that, we're done. So let's go ahead and grab this row here. And we're going to set this to max content. Alrighty. So just like that, we were able to create the next section on the page. And I think that looks really, really good. The next section that we're going to be building is going to kind of show like 3 main features that you get with their service. So similar to what we did up here, we're going to kind of split the grid into a 1x2. So let's grab this. We'll do 1x2. We'll add that 6.4 VH gap. And what I want to do is have the heading text over here to the left and some paragraph text over here to the right. So to do that, what we're going to do is just go ahead and add a container really quickly. Let's stretch it. It's slightly gray. I don't know if it's picking it up on the YouTube compression, but I'm going to want to remove that background color. Then I want to apply a CSS grid, and we're going to split this into 2x1. So you can see we now have space over here for heading text and space over here for paragraph. And I just want to add, let's say 42 pixel gap in between. Okay. Then what I want to do is grab a heading 2. We'll throw this over here to the left. If I enable the advanced settings using Option or Alt-I on your keyboard, you can go ahead and enable that. And then I'm going to set the width to 100%. Let's go ahead and change the text really quickly. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and add a little paragraph over here on the right-hand side. Again, let's make the text a little bit lighter. And I'm just going to paste in the text really quickly. And what I want this to be 2 lines, so something like this looks good. I'm going to align it to the left and center. And what I want to do is bring this in a little bit. And you can kind of see how that shifts the elements a little bit. So let's bring this back out. And I want this to be like a little bit bigger. So I'll set this to 48. And then we'll adjust that. Perfect. I think that looks great. So let's grab the section container really quickly and we'll set the top row to max content, just like that. Then underneath this, we're going to want to set this to, for now, let's say like 600 pixels. We can change this in just a second. But what I want to do in this is I want to add a repeater. So we'll go to quick add, repeater, and we're just going to stretch it for now. For this repeater, let's go and add 16 pixel gap. Okay, we'll make sure this is set to pixel so it doesn't change on any screen size. And then with the repeater item, just like the container, let's just remove the background color. And I just want to add my own container inside of it, remove the background color. Actually, no, we're going to set this to a black background color because we might have to do what we did with this video up here and change the opacity of our images a little bit. So what I want to do is just add the black background to our containers. Under corners, let's set this to 16 pixels. And we're going to turn off scale properties so that 16 stays 16 on all screen sizes. And then we're going to go to overflow content. We're going to set this to hide. The next thing we want to do is add our image. So we're going to image, we'll stretch this. And because we're stretching this inside of a container that we've added rounded corners to and set the overflow to hide, we get that nice rounded corner. So what I want to do is just go ahead and change the background images really quickly. Change this one here. And last but not least, we'll change this one here. Okay. And the only other thing that I want to do with these is set the background color to like 70%, maybe even 60%. I think that will look really good. Great. Next thing I want to do is just add another container inside of this. Let's stretch it. With this container, we're going to want to arrange and bring to front. And I want to remove the background color. This container that we currently just added is just going to be our content container. So I want to add like 42 pixels to the left and top like that. I also want to apply a CSS grid, and we're going to split this into a 1x2. And we'll add like a 42 pixel gap just to make sure that the content we add on the top and the content we add at the bottom don't accidentally overlap. Inside of this, what I want to do is just add a little title. For some reason, it is invisible. But let's go ahead and find where that text got added. There we go. And what I want to do is I want to change this to intermediate. Perfect. It does not need to be this big. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this to be like 24 pixels. I think that looks good. We'll center it, send it to the top, middle. Let's turn on the advanced size settings and set the width to 100%. And I realized I'm editing heading 2 style. But I don't want this to necessarily actually be a heading 2 for SEO purposes. So what I want to do is scroll down a little bit where we can set the HTML tag, and we can manually change this to like an H4. I think that looks a little bit nicer. But now let's go ahead and change the text. Alrighty. Next, if we take a look at the live website, this is the section that we are building. And I kind of want to make a note of something. For the way that they have it, when you click this little plus, it kind of expands. I am personally not a huge fan of this method just because it kind of stretches the image and it doesn't always look right when you do that. So typically we can design it like this, but I want to make it to where if the user clicks on anything here or this button or anything like that, it links out to a different page. So instead of making this like an expand box, I kind of just wanted to make it like a normal button link. Also, something that I kind of want to note here, I'm not a huge fan of the way this currently is set up, where this one is longer and causes like this weird gap thing. I do want to mention though that this website is in German and it's translated to English. So the translation might be the reason that this looks weird on the English version, but maybe in the German version, it looks perfectly fine. Regardless, we're going to be designing it a little bit differently. So what I want to do is go ahead and grab another container. We're going to remove the background color. We're going to apply a CSS grid, 2x1. Let's add like a 16 pixel gap. Over on the right hand side, let's go ahead and add a container. For this container, let's make this 32 by 32 pixels. I'm going to drag it over here to the right hand side. Let's center it. Responsive behavior, we'll set it to fixed. Let's remove the background color. And then inside of this, all we want to do is add a decorative element. We'll go to more shapes. And I just want to say plus. And we'll just find one that we want to use. Honestly, we'll just grab this plus circle. I think this looks good. It's kind of what we wanted anyway. We'll change the color. We'll resize it. And we'll bring this down to our container. Let's lock the aspect ratio and let's set this to like 32 pixels. And we'll make sure it's in the actual container that we set up. And we'll center it. And with that, we're going to make sure that the icon is set to fixed. Same with the container, okay? And now we can grab this container here and we can set the left or the right column to max content. Then on the left-hand column, all I want to do is grab a little bit of paragraph text. We'll paste it in. For this, we are going to want this to be white. We're also going to want to make sure it is in the left-hand column. Let's turn on the advanced sizing and set this to 100%. And let's go ahead and change the text out really quickly. Let's grab this container. Let's press Command I and we'll set the width to 100%. Then what we're going to do is go to rows and we'll set this to max content. And we'll make sure we send it to the bottom. Okay. And what I want to do is grab the container, and I think I might want to adjust the padding a little bit to maybe be like 24, but we'll leave the top and bottom one at 42. But I think that looks pretty good. Next thing I want to do is change this 600 pixels to maybe like 300 pixels. Okay, that wasn't enough. Let's do 400 pixels. I think I like that. And what I want to do is just set this to a VH value. And the last thing I want to do here is just turn off the scaling for the elements here. And I also want to switch the padding to pixels instead of responsive pixels. So now we should see something that looks like this. I think it looks pretty good. I would like to change these to max content and this one to auto. Okay, I think that looks good. Now let's grab the actual repeater item. And I want to set this to advanced settings. Let's go to row and we'll set this to auto. So that way it's going to kind of prevent the item from growing too much. I think that looks good. And then for this heading text, let's go ahead and set this to like 52 max, minimum 36. That's something you just need to play around with, but I'm not really trying to do that at this moment. But yeah, I think that looks pretty good. The next section that we're gonna have here is just kind of gonna be like a simple, honestly, just kind of a very, very simple section. It's not even like a call to action, but it's kind of set up like one for some reason. But what I want to do is actually set this one to be a white color. Borders, let's set this to 16. Let's remove the scale property so that way on all screen sizes, the rounded corners is 16. Perfect. Let's go ahead and set the top padding to 6.4 VH. We'll set the side to like 5%. Alrighty, looks good. And inside of this, all we want to do is let's just grab this stack here. I want to paste it in here. Let's remove this top one. And I just want to add a little image here. So let's go ahead and grab this image right here. Looks good. Let's resize it. And what we're going to do is just add it to the stack. Okay. Let's grab the stack. Let's set the item spacing to 16 pixels. So align all the items to the center. And let's just go ahead and change the text. Okay. Now that that is done, let's grab this container. Let's grab the row and we'll set this from a pixel value to max content. And just like that, this section is already done. I will say though, for spacing reasons, I kind of want to actually grab this one right here. Let's go to edit individually and let's remove the top one. And we're just going to kind of bring it a little bit closer to the section above it. And then if we wanted to, we could edit individually. And for this bottom one, let's say this is 16 pixels. So it almost kind of makes it look like all four of these items are kind of going together. It makes it all look like one section. And honestly, I kind of like that. So I'm going to leave it like that. The next section that we're going to build is just kind of going to be like those basic sections with a stack and image. So what we want to do is with this section, we're going to split this into a 2x1. Let's add like a 64 gap here. And what I want to do first is go ahead and grab the stack up here. And over here, I just want to paste it. We'll send it to the right column. We'll center it. And with the advanced settings for sizing, we'll set the width to 100%. Okay. And let's just go ahead and do that for all of the elements inside of this as well. And I'm going to change the text really quickly. And then over here on the left-hand side, we're just going to want to add our image. So of course, I'm just going to go to our media. We're going to find the one that goes with our sleep analysis one. We're going to add this to our section and we're going to send this to the left and top. Make sure it's part of the left grid cell. And what I want to do is grab this container. For row, we're going to set this to max content. And just like that, we have this section complete. Now, honestly, what I want to do is just go ahead and duplicate this section. and we're going to duplicate it again, because this section right here, the middle section, is going to basically be the same thing in an opposite way. So what I want to do is grab this text. We'll send this to the left grid cell, and we'll grab the image. We'll send it to the right. Let's go ahead and change the image really quickly to be this one right here. Now, if it looks cut off or anything, which it really doesn't except for this right here, what we're going to do is come over to the settings, just reset image. Okay, perfect. Then what we can do is just resize it to where it fits inside of the grid cell. And I think that looks good just as it is. Now I can go ahead and change the text. And for this stack, we actually want to add a little bit of UI element to it. So we're going to go over to our media, site files. We're going to grab this one and add it. Okay. I'm going to drag it down. We're going to make it substantially smaller. And let's just go ahead and add it to the stack here. Okay. Let's go ahead and set the item spacing to 16 again and align everything to the middle. And just like that, this section is now complete. Now we just need to work on the final section here. So I've changed the text. Let's go ahead and change the image here. And we're going to go over to the settings, readjust, and we'll just resize it. Perfect. This one also has a little bit of UI to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the sleep diary week, drag this down. Let's go ahead and resize it substantially. And we'll add this to our stack. Then we'll grab the stack, set the item spacing to 16, center everything, and just like that, this one is now done. Now the final section that we are going to build is just kind of like a call to action. So what I want to do with this is go ahead and add our empty section. With this section, I want to change the background image to this one right here. I also want to go ahead and change the background color to black, and we'll lower the opacity a smidge. Okay. And then inside of this, what I want to do is grab this text here. We'll change this to white, and we'll change this to say our promise. Send to the top middle for now. And what I want to do is just go ahead and duplicate this. However, this one is going to be like 24 pixels in size. Using the Alt key on the keyboard, I'm going to expand it out from the center. Then I'm going to go ahead and change the text. However, for this text, I don't want it to be all caps. So I'm going to say as typed. And then last but not least, what I want to do is go up to the very top. I want to grab this stack here with the buttons. Copy that and bring it all the way down here and paste it here. Okay. Now let's grab all three of these elements. We'll stack these together. Set the item spacing to 16 pixels. Make sure everything's centered. Let's center it here. Then let's grab this container, go to row height and set it to max content. However, we're then going to select the padding and I'm going to set this to like 16. Heck, maybe we'll even do 20. I think that looks pretty good. Just from a quick hour, I think we did a really cool job at making this website. Now, I did not make it responsive or anything, so if you are a supporter on Patreon or YouTube, I will be making a tablet and mobile version video of this. So if you're interested in seeing that, then make sure you join one of those. But that's going to wrap it up for today's video. If you all did enjoy, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel for more Wix Fix content coming out really soon. Thank you all again, and I will see you all in the next one.